The Galactic Council's archives contained records spanning 47 million years, yet the discovery that shattered their understanding of the universe came from a single, unremarkable blue planet in the Orion Arm. Commander Zektar of the Hegemony's exploration fleet had expected routine mineral surveys when his ships entered the Sol system. What he found instead defied every principle of galactic evolution his species had ever documented. "Sir," his scanner operator's voice trembled through the bridge's atmospheric processors. "The third planet, it's inhabited by a pre-warp civilization." Zektar's chitinous plates rustled with mild interest. "Primitives? Add them to the observation list. We'll return in a few millennia to check their progress." "Sir, that's not all." The operator's bioluminescent patches flickered frantically. "I'm detecting massive artificial structures beneath the planet's surface. The quantum dating suggests they're impossible." The commander's four eyes focused intently on the scanner readings. The numbers couldn't be right. The structures showed construction dates of over 65 million years ago, predating the oldest known galactic civilizations by 20 million years. "Run diagnostics on all equipment," Zektar ordered, but deep in his primary brain, doubt was already taking root. 3 days of intensive scanning confirmed the impossible. Earth harbored the ruins of an ancient civilization so advanced that its technology registered as quantum anomalies on their most sophisticated instruments. Yet the current inhabitants appeared to be primitive mammals who had only recently discovered nuclear fusion. The report that reached the Galactic Council sent shockwaves through every member species. Emergency sessions were called. The Ethereal Collective, beings of pure energy who claimed to remember the galaxy's birth, fell silent for the first time in recorded history. The machine intelligence known as the Network began calculating probabilities that kept returning error messages. Ambassador Thais of the Council's Archaeological Division led the first official expedition to Earth. Her team consisted of the galaxy's most brilliant xenoarchaeologists, temporal physicists, and consciousness researchers. They expected to find evidence of some previously unknown extinct species. They found something far more disturbing. The ancient structures weren't built by an extinct species. They were built by humans. The quantum signatures matched perfectly. The architectural patterns, while impossibly advanced, contained subtle mathematical progressions that appeared in current human art and music. Most unsettling of all, genetic material found in the deepest layers was identical to samples taken from living humans. "It's not possible," Thais whispered as she stood in the vast underground complex beneath what humans called the Pacific Ocean. The chamber stretched beyond their scanning range, its walls covered in symbols that hurt to look at directly. Mathematics so advanced it seemed to bend space around itself. Her research partner, Dr. Kent of the Silicon Collective, processed the data through his crystalline matrix. "The humans built this," he stated with mechanical certainty. "But according to their own historical records, their species has only possessed technology for a few thousand years. The quantum dating is absolute. This complex is 68 million years old. The implications were staggering. If humans had possessed such advanced technology in the past, what had happened to it? And more importantly, what did it mean for the current galactic order?" The answer came from an unexpected source, the humans themselves. Dr. Sarah Chen, a human physicist who had been observing the aliens with the same curiosity they showed toward her, approached Ambassador Thais during one of the excavation sessions. "You're confused about the timeline," she said simply, her primitive vocal cords somehow conveying concepts that shouldn't have been possible without technological assistance. Thais's translator struggled with the human's words. "Explain." Sarah smiled, and in that expression, Thais saw something that chilled her to her core, the look of an adult watching a child discover something obvious. "You assume linear time because that's how your consciousness experiences reality," Sarah continued. "But consciousness itself isn't bound by temporal flow. We didn't build these structures in your past. We're building them in your future, and the quantum echoes are manifesting in what you perceive as the past." The human's words were impossible, but the mathematics checking out in real time suggested otherwise. Thais watched in growing horror as Sarah casually manipulated equations that the Council's greatest minds couldn't comprehend. "Your species evolved to explore the galaxy," Sarah explained, her tone gentle but unmistakably patronizing. "Ours evolved to explore time itself. We've been watching you develop, guiding you subtly, ensuring you'd be ready for what's coming. What's coming? This managed to ask. Sarah's expression grew serious. The real ancient ones. The ones who seeded this galaxy with life in the first place. They're returning, and they're not pleased with how their experiment has developed. As if responding to her words, space around Earth began to shimmer. Massive structures, dwarfing anything in the galaxy's collective memory, began materializing in the void between dimensions. The Galactic Council's most powerful warships, technologies refined over millions of years of conflict, registered the approaching fleet and immediately classified it as an extinction-level threat. Every weapon system in known space wouldn't scratch the hull plating of the smallest vessel in the approaching armada. Sarah looked up at the sky, where the first shadows of the ancient fleet were beginning to block out stars. "Now you understand," she said to the trembling alien diplomat. "We weren't the primitive species you discovered. You were the primitive species we've been preparing." Across Earth, 6 billion humans looked up at the sky with expressions of calm anticipation rather than terror. They had been waiting for this moment, preparing for it across millions of years of apparent regression and advancement, hiding their true nature behind the facade of a young civilization. The galaxy that had thought itself ancient suddenly realized it was nothing more than a carefully tended garden, and the gardeners had finally come home to harvest what they had sown. But between the harvesters and their crops stood humanity, not the young species the galaxy had pitied, but the ancient ones who had been here all along. The real war for the galaxy was about to begin, and the supposed primitives of Earth were the only ones who had ever been prepared for it.